Hey y'all, welcome back to Tiger Talks. This is episode 3, and we are so excited to be here with y'all and continue talking about the ways that the sports world is changing, specifically concerning media today. So, my name is Courtney.
I'm Nicole.
My name is Taj.
And I'm Marcus.
We're so excited to talk with y'all today. Okay, so the first thing I want to bring up is the article in class about narrative transportation and media enjoyment. So, kind of reflecting on that, what forms of media do you think that y'all feel like the most like immersed with? Like, as I know they talked about like books being a big thing about people getting the most like enjoyment out of that. Some other people found like TV shows to, have the biggest like experience. But yeah, what types of media do you think y'all feel most immersed in?
Yeah,
I feel most like more immersed like throughout the internet. I feel as
yeah,
though it's not even our generation type of conversation. I feel as though it's just me personally, and with the tech that we have nowadays and how a simple notification, can just buzz through my phone and I'm alerted of anything, in the media world, honestly is like, quick access and I think it's definitely useful and yeah, I think it's great. I think that's my favorite.
that's a really good point that you bring up, like how impactful just a notification can be. I think that's crazy. Like, especially, I feel like I get that way with ESPN. Like, honestly, y'all, I don't know all the rules and all the ins and outs and all the stats of every single sport ever, but I'll get one notification from ESPN. Like if I'm a hockey fan and I like the Islanders, it's like a Vancouver notification, and I'm like, oh shoot, what's that? I click on it and I'm looking at it, and I'm not even a Vancouver fan. So like that's huge, and that's such a good point, Marcus. I love that you bring that up. Um, I feel like I want to say Instagram is what I'm like most pulled to, but immersion wise, I feel like I can really get wrapped into TikTok.
Hmm.
But that kind of stinks because not all teams are on TikTok. Like obviously our Clemson, like no Clemson account really is active on TikTok anymore. But it's just so easily like you just get so drawn into it and it's so quick that like you get your information and you scroll and then there's more information. You get that in like 30 seconds and you scroll and it's just like you go and go and go. But at the same time, I guess I can kind of do that with Instagram too, of just like going down to that black hole. You know what I mean? When you're like 10 accounts deep, or you're just like
Yeah.
clicking on tags and stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like so many accounts and so many people do such a good job of focusing on that immersion aspect now. And like, I can get wrapped in anywhere, honestly.
Yeah, I completely agree with that too. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like TikTok for me is a big thing. And sorry to clarify earlier with like books, like the article was more about, yeah, it's like narrative transportation and then how media is like kind of changed that.
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
books, I think was like more in the past, of course, of people being like
Right.
immersed in that. But yeah,
Nicole's
it's
like
a,
reading every day. She's like,
yeah, like, oops, sorry. Um, yeah, I feel like TikTok too would be the biggest thing for me. I can just spend so much time on that.
yeah.
But yeah, and then also like TV shows. Like if I get really involved in a series, I feel like
Yeah.
it's a nice little like escape and I like get like really wrapped up in that if I like really like the
Yeah.
TV show.
That's true.
So that's always
That's
fun too. I
true.
feel like that's a big form of media for me, like TV shows and then
Hmm.
like TikTok. But
For sure.
I would say I agree with Nicole. Like TV shows, I'm the TV show type of person, like watching series and stuff like that. But I think like I'm an Instagram person. I like scrolling through Instagram, seeing
Yeah.
the news, seeing excitement. For TikTok, I think TikTok is just for me to laugh and escape a little depression or something like that.
Yeah.
If I feel down, yeah, I said it. Like to escape a bad day, I would just go on TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok, as long as you go on TikTok and swipe, something
Yeah.
is there for you to laugh. Like, yeah, so
Right.
I
It's
agree with
all
Nicole.
entertainment.
TikTok entertainment is
Yeah.
there, like for sure.
Yeah. It's so funny that you literally use the word escape. Like you go on TikTok to like escape from reality. And that's exactly what we talked about in class. Like
mhm.
that's the point in so many aspects is to give your audience that escape for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long. And like obviously it's being successful. Like Taj goes to TikTok now when he wants to laugh for a few minutes, and like that's exactly the goal. Like that's the point.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. But wow. Hmm.
Let's see. Yeah. For a next thing, one of the articles really talked about like digital media bringing like the fan stadium experience and traditional mediated event experiences into the same realm. So that kind of goes along with like people doing like Instagram lives, for example, at like sporting events now.
Mm.
How do y'all feel like, in the past however many years, that's really been like a big thing, like media from the people being like actively at games, connecting to the people who aren't able to be at those games in person, but kind of getting that experience from like their homes.
I find that really helpful and useful. I mean, like, either way, we're all looking for some sort of entertainment, right? At the end of the day. Um, I feel like with that, like, that's helpful to people who weren't even able to get a ticket or, notified late about a game. I mean, I've been through it and, I definitely, tried to search someone, who was live
Mm.
at a game, for sure, just to kind of catch a clip of it because at the end of the day, like, it's just entertainment. And I just feel like if it's being pushed and, everybody's being, you know, notified about it and kind of, just looking into it, then that's great. And I feel like, it's a good like source at the end of the day for people who, like I said, weren't able to make a game and all that.
Yeah, I feel like YouTube plays a big role in that, in like many aspects, especially like most games. Like if I don't have cable here, but like if a game isn't on ESPN or something, like I'm going to YouTube Live to watch it, and then like after a game, I'm going to YouTube to watch highlights. And like there's so many like different aspects of entertainment and like parts of a game that you can watch on YouTube. And in addition, like there's influencers making long form videos that you can watch, like if you like TV shows, you can sit down and watch a 40-minute YouTube video on whatever you want. There's like everything on YouTube. I swear you can find everything. Um, but yeah, I feel like YouTube kind of took a dip of like popularity for a while, and I feel like it's kind of on the upcome again.
Yeah, I agree.
I also think like TikTok. See TikTok,
Yeah,
someone is always on TikTok streaming. If
yeah,
you if you if you can't make a match, like say you can't watch a soccer match because of some reasons, once you put that in TikTok, someone is on
it's
TikTok
there.
streaming it live.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, yeah. And sometimes it's even better to watch a game live, someone streaming live than watching on TV. Like you can hear the energy and the people talking. Sometimes people
Yeah,
talking some messed up stuff, but we are on there to listen,
that's
enjoy
a
what
good
they're
point.
saying too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's a good point.
for
I've
real.
never joined like a live stream of a game, but like, Taj, do you find that you enjoy watching like soccer matches or whatever it may be? Like you'd rather pick a live stream to watch the game and like listen to other people have their thoughts on it than just like watch the stream itself?
Yeah, I rather watch it on someone live because you might
Wow.
never know. You hear some people in the stand saying some stupid stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's entertaining, and like someone will be cursing someone else because they're picking up for an athlete or stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, for sure.
That's so interesting. That's such an aspect that I've never heard about. That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really cool to think about how, I don't know, how much more entertainment has been provided for people instead of just watching it like on TV, if they can't go to the game, and now they can do things like
Right.
exactly the live streams
Right.
like that. It's more of an elevated
Yeah.
experience for some people, and
Right.
that cool thing.
Yeah, because it's like you're hearing the commentators talking, but it's all about the game where you hear other people saying
Yeah.
stuff that the
Yeah.
commentator would not say. So yeah,
I
it
don't need to
makes
hear
it
the
even fun.
announcers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just hear the fans like,
Yeah. That's so true because like a live stream is like uncensored. They can say whatever they want. It's their account. But the announcers, it's like they're getting paid to say things, and like if they say certain things, they might not get paid anymore. So
yeah.
like that opens a whole new window of like freedom. That's so cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Well, guys, we get to talk to our Miss Guest. In a few minutes, we're bringing on Kaitlin de Guzman. She did gymnastics at the University of Kentucky for 4 years of undergrad, and then came to Clemson to do gymnastics for grad school for 1 year. She was on the inaugural team here at Clemson, which is incredible. And then she then went on to be the first Clemson gymnastics grad. So excited to have her on. Can't wait to pick her brain and see what she has to say. So yeah, we'll see y'all in a few seconds.
See y'all in a little bit. Hey everyone, today we have Kaitlin Guzman as our guest speaker. She did gymnastics at Kentucky for 4 years and then did her grad year here at Clemson. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We're so excited to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate being here. It's such an honor to be able to talk to y'all. But a little bit about myself. I was a gymnast here in Clemson last year. It was their first inaugural season. But prior to that, I did gymnastics in Kentucky, where I spent 4 years over there, gained my bachelor's. And before that, I actually competed for the Philippine national team. So I was such a high level gymnast at such a young age. So at this point in time, I graduated last summer in August. So this is gonna be like my first season in life where I'm no longer a gymnast. It's been like 8 months, I believe. So it's pretty weird transition, but it's been good.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. I want to hear more about your time like growing up as a gymnast. Like, at what point did you realize, okay, I'm at the level where I can do this collegiately and like go make a life out of it?
It's so crazy. I feel like I was born into the sport. My mom was actually competing for the Philippine national team for 10 years. Can you believe it?
Oh
Wow.
my
So I
gosh.
actually learned how to be like part of the sport and all that stuff at such a young age. I think it's like since I came out of the womb, I was already like
Ah,
tumbling. But I quickly learned that I could be like a high level performing gymnast. I would say around like actually not even that young because I moved to the United States because of gymnastics. I was from the Philippines. I moved when I was 8. And from then, usually you can tell whenever a gymnast is going to be really good at, like, I would say
yeah.
at 5, because a lot of our
Five?
meets, our
Uh,
a lot of our
Oh my
developmental
gosh.
stuff, like, you can tell whenever a
Yeah.
gymnast is going to be, like, really quick and, like, powerful, and they start to go into these like developmental training sessions at like
Yeah.
8 or like 9 years old. So I would say I would got started quote unquote later than usual gymnast, but around like I would say 10 years old is whenever people are like, oh, you need to put her at elite level, which is above like 10. So that's where Simone Biles usually competes, is the elite level, and
Yeah.
a lot of people were like pushing me to do that. So I would say around 10 years old is whenever I was like, okay, wait, this can actually give me a future. I can go different ways, like a professional level or a collegiate level.
Yeah.
that's
Wow,
so
that
cool.
is so crazy. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. So you said you moved here when you were 8 for gymnastics. Was that for your mom's career or was that like for you?
I think it was collectively for my family's career, because not only was I an athlete, my brother was also an athlete, so he did
Oh,
swimming.
cool.
Oh
But
wow.
he was
Oh,
more
wow.
academic inclined. So my mom got a job offer in Texas, where they had offered to move her from the Philippines and like all of us as a family to start her life in America. And obviously a lot of people are like, okay, America, like you get a lot more opportunities in the Philippines in terms of education
Right.
and just like more opportunities to compete. So while we moved there for gymnastics for my mom's career, it also benefited me and my brother and my dad's career in terms of work
Yeah.
related stuff, as well as my education, my gymnastics like programming, like
Wow.
opportunities, as well as my brother like swimming and school.
Wow. That's such an incredible story. I
It's
love that so
awesome.
much. That's so
So we
cool.
started from like so young too. Like that's like oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's so great. Did you have your eyes set? Like, I'm sure you were like, okay, I want to do this in college. Were you set on going to Kentucky, or was that kind of like a God thing? You just like ended up there and it was incredible.
What's funny is I actually wasn't supposed to go to Kentucky. Um, I
Uh-oh. I
Yeah,
need to hear the
so
story.
T, little bit of a story, little background, but when it was around seventh grade, in that crazy seventh grade is whenever
Yeah, that's so
my time
crazy.
usually, where colleges start to watch like little gymnasts is seventh grade, like really
Wow.
young. So talk about like the age opportunity there. You have to be so good at a
Yeah.
young age, competing at a high level, but at seventh grade, I was visiting a lot of colleges already. So SECs, Big 12s, other conferences, which I
Wow.
didn't even know what conferences were.
Yeah.
And I remember
You're
I
like,
was
what's happening?
visiting, right? I was visiting two schools that I didn't actually even get close to like like competing against. Well, I guess I did,
Yeah.
but I was looking into University of Oklahoma and Alabama. And I
Wow.
remember them asking me, both of the schools asking me, like, what do I want to do whenever I grow up? And I'm like, y'all, let's be honest.
I'm in seventh
Yeah.
I'm
grade.
homeschooled. I'm seventh grade. I did not care about school whatsoever. I just want to compete. Like, this is fun
Yeah.
to me. This is my hobby. But I ended up, what's funny is that how I chose what school I wanted to go into was
Yeah.
what their mascot was.
Oh my
So
gosh.
my parents, yeah.
That's the
So
only
my
thing that
parents
matters.
actually um bought me two of like the Pillow Pet mascots. Y'all know what that is?
Yeah,
Like
I
What?
the
remember
Oh my
those.
toys
gosh.
like mascots. Yeah. So
It's a
we
deep
had the
memory.
Alabama one, which is the elephant, go roll tide or something.
Yeah.
And then
That's so
OU was
cute.
different because they're like the Sooners, so they got like the
Yeah.
horse. So I was like,
Oh.
okay, which animal do I like best? I don't know
Oh
how
my
a horse
gosh.
won against
This
an
is it,
elephant
y'all. This is how the
because
decision is made. If anyone
exactly,
was
a seventh
wondering.
grader's mind. Exactly.
Wow.
So like I picked the
Seventh
horse
grade.
and I was committed to University of Oklahoma up until my senior year
Oh my
where
gosh.
I went through like
Oh
a
my
phase of
gosh.
saying like I don't want to do gymnastics anymore. I think I quit about for 2 weeks. I had like a love-hate relationship with gymnastics growing
Wow.
up with it.
Yeah.
I was burnt out at the age of 12 and I just didn't want to
Yeah.
continue it whatsoever. But so many people were like, you can like get like your school paid for this, like you need to do it. But
Real.
my senior year, I decommitted. I somewhat quit my sport. And then after
Wow.
2 weeks, I was like, okay, well, how am I gonna stay in shape? And
You're
I
like, wait, I kind of
am
need it.
not the person who works out. Like
Real.
like outside of gymnastics, I did not want to do anything. So I was like, you know what, I kind of need this not only for, school and like just it's so cool to compete for collegiately, but also my health because I was not about to go up and run somewhere.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. Sorry,
So
Nicole and
I
Josh.
right.
No running
You're
here.
good.
We don't want to be
Yeah,
running.
yeah, my bad. Sorry about that. I was not about to even walk outside. Like, I think that's another
Mm-mm.
reason why I chose gymnastics is because it's an indoor sport. Um,
Real.
but yes, so
I
I
love that.
committed my senior year to Kentucky, which for gymnasts,
Oh,
that's very odd. Like you don't do
yeah.
that. Like usually now they changed the rules. Now they changed it to like junior years whenever you get recruited, and then you can like either commit or sign then because mentally you're
Interesting.
just not in a right mental place to
Yeah.
commit at such a young
I
So
mean, at
early,
age.
12
yeah.
years
But
old, you're committing for college. That's
That's
unreal.
crazy.
right? Yes.
Like,
So,
that's crazy.
that led me to Kentucky, which honestly it is a godsend. Like I pray about
Yeah.
it so much. Like obviously there's gonna be ups and downs, but at the end of the
Right.
day, it got me to where I am, and I thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoyed like my time in Kentucky. Like I mean, come on,
Oh.
I'm still wearing SEC to this day, and like
Oh
I
yeah.
visit them
Yeah.
like every so often. Like I love
Oh.
it.
That's so
Yeah.
sweet. I love that. That's so cool. What was because obviously your mom has a very prominent name in the gymnastics world. You have a very prominent name in the gymnastics world. Was there like a lot of crazy media coverage about like your transfer and your decommitment and then commitment to Kentucky?
So, fun enough, I love how social media plays such a big role, and we have something called the gymternet, where the
Oh my
gymnastics
gosh.
community is in the internet. Very
Okay,
scary
Gym
place.
World.
Let me tell you
Yeah.
that, and something you don't want your name to be put out there. But it's like
Oh
if you
no. Like
take
the
a
deep
step
dark
out
web.
somewhere, like what's crazy is they know everything. Like I could have
Oh my
kept everything a
gosh.
secret, but as soon as I stepped foot in a different state, like especially like transferring from Kentucky, and
Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell any of my friends. Only like one of my like
Wow.
my mom knew, my dad knew. I think my brother knew. I don't even know, but no one really knew, and I didn't say anything. And the next day, like while I was in Clemson, I saw a tweet that like my name was like Kaitlin de Guzman was like spotted on Clemson campus. I'm like, who
No
knows me
way.
here?
What?
So it's like one of
That's
those things where
That's
like you don't know
crazy.
what's happening. But in terms of like going from OU to Kentucky, you can see it from, I
Wow.
believe there's a like a spreadsheet of like all us gymnasts, and it tells you who committed to
oh
like
my
what plays.
gosh.
And once we're taking off of like OU or like other colleges like kind of like roster or
Yeah.
like the commitment list, then we are like free for other schools to grab. So that's how they know it, I believe too.
Yeah.
So
That's
there's that.
wild.
So as much
That
as
is
like I
wild.
think I did a good job at keeping under wraps. I don't really post much about like stuff like that. I don't even think I
Yeah.
posted like a big announcement for whenever I was gonna go to Kentucky. So
Yeah.
I don't think anyone knew up until I put out a post that I was signing to Kentucky instead of Oklahoma.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but I mostly got a lot of media coverage whenever I was competing for the Philippines, like back in 2017 and
Right.
2018. That was crazy, and at that point in my life, I'm like, I don't want a media thing. I don't want people knowing about my life. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the gym tournament, like everyone knows everything, which is scary.
That's that's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
I feel like cheer and dance is kind of the same way. There's
Mhm.
like if you're on TikTok, it's like dance talk or cheer talk, and like
Yeah.
everyone just knows everything. Like it's craziness. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's unreal.
That's wild.
Yeah. Is the media coverage, obviously you mentioned you competed for the Philippine team. Um, what is the media coverage like with that compared to like collegiate media coverage? Like obviously I'm sure
Yeah.
there's differences like SEC, ACC, but what about like collegiate and more professional?
Yeah. In terms of like the Philippines and like Asian games where I competed, it's like close to none, honestly. When it comes to like
Wow.
collegiate sports here, oh, amazing. Like it's like
Yeah.
a like black and white difference. And I think a lot of people like think of it, it's like, oh, you're competing for Asian games. It should be like broadcasted everywhere. But it's not
Yeah.
like the Olympics where everyone's watching. You only have a certain region of like the Asian games that people are watching, and
Right.
gymnastics is not a sport that a lot of people watch. So
Hmm.
we would barely even have like cameras that you can see as clearly as this camera right now.
What?
So
Oh my
like
gosh.
media coverage is not the best. There are reporters there, but it's also only for like the countries that are competing. So if you're not a
Yeah, that
country
makes
that
sense.
is competing, or like someone that if like for instance like I compete for the Philippines, if they don't know who I am, they're not going to like put in, oh, this person is
Right.
competing here and this and that, and
Right.
listing out all your accolades unless that you actually compete and earn a medal and are
Yeah.
going to somewhere else. So other
Wow.
than that, it's like, yeah,
That's
so
so
whenever I compete for
interesting.
a sea games, a lot it like blew up because my mom, funny enough, competed at sea games as well. I believe it was like 10 to 15 years apart, and we both got gold for the same event,
Oh my
and I was
gosh.
the first gold like in like how many
Yes,
years to get it.
Guzman.
So a lot of
That's
people were like
amazing.
all up in that. um
Yeah.
but
Wait,
other
that's
than that,
huge,
like you hear
dude.
little. Oh, I'm like over here like brushing it off, but like
Yeah, like come on,
That's
girl.
huge.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
thanks.
Wow.
But
Dude, that's
like
like
when it comes
such
to
an
those
incredible
things,
honor. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Wow.
But you
I
don't
wish that
hear
was
it
like,
like all the way here.
yeah, that's so
Yeah,
crazy
that's
how it's
crazy.
like so intentionally broadcasted to the specific countries. I wish like that's insane. I wish we knew about it here and like it was broadcasted. Like Clemson Gymnastics needed to blow that up. Like come on now.
Right,
Come
I
on.
know. Whenever I competed for Uzbekistan, I think I talked to you about this, Courtney. Some time ago, I
Yeah.
believe it was June, is whenever I was supposed to actually be retired, and then I got the call to compete for them, and I was like, you know what, fine. This is
Yeah.
gonna be going out in the bang. And I remember when
Yeah.
people were like texting me while I was in Uzbekistan, they're like, "What is the link?" or like, "How can we watch?" I'm like, "You can't." Like,
Yeah,
Oh my
you'll hear
gosh.
I
from me, I
remember that.
guess. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like, I can
yeah.
That's
FaceTime
crazy.
you if you want.
I'll set you up in the stands so you can watch, but
Right?
oh, that's crazy. So they don't even do like YouTube live streams or like it's not broadcasted at all.
I honestly think
Besides
they
like,
do, but it's such a hard thing to get, or like it's not
yeah,
communicated to us because it's like
right,
not a big thing to like just watch gymnastics at like over there. Like I don't even
right.
think we would have like I could count how many people were there. It was
Wow.
Oh
like
my
that
gosh.
That's
small.
so
Yeah.
interesting.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow. Would you say gymnastics is bigger in the US overall?
Definitely. It definitely is,
Yeah.
especially with
Wow.
like collegiate gymnastics. I know a couple people who are in the Philippine national team where they would train and want to get recruited for America or like to
Oh,
get a
wow.
college scholarship here. Yeah, so that was their
Wow.
goal. So,
Got it. Wow. That is so incredible. I'm
mm,
like in awe of your like path through the gymnastics world. Like that's so
thank
That's
incredible.
you.
I love
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah,
Wow.
Caitlin, that sounds really inspirational. Quick question. I just wanted to know, like, what would be your message to young people who are out there who wants to take the same journey but never had the platform or never had the opportunity like you had, and kind of just like something, you would say to them for, motivational purposes?
Yeah, honestly, the biggest thing I know social media plays like a big part in recruiting process, especially since nowadays, a lot of the college coaches, that's how they recruit in order for them to go and watch like these gymnasts or just athletes in general. But honestly, one of the biggest things is like I would say, just compete for yourself because honestly, like that's all you can do. And you can do your best to kind of portray who you are and what kind of athlete you are in social media. But at the end of the day, it's more than just being an athlete. I've noticed this quite a lot is that these coaches are not only looking for your talent, but they're actually also looking at your personality as well. Like how well you're going to mesh with their team, how you are as a person in general and who you are whenever outside you're competing, outside all like the cameras and like the media and being on top of like a pedestal basically. And like the most important thing is who you are when you have a bad day because that lets them know like what kind of personality you're going to have in their team and whether you're not going to be coachable, right? So my biggest thing is honestly, have fun. Like that's a main thing a lot of people say in your sport, but also do it for yourself and don't forget to like actually show up for your personality because at the end of the day that's what a lot of people look forward to. You don't want to train with someone who is negative. They want to train with someone who's like striving to be good, striving to be better. Like how can I be better for like the next day or the next day or next day like that, because that's what they want, someone who's coachable. Because talent, that's great, that's a lot of people want that, but it's also someone who's willing to do the work whenever talent is not going to show up.
Mm, that's a great answer. That was fire. That was jam-packed. I love that.
Hey, Caitlin, I have a question too.
Okay.
So I just want to know, like, what are some lessons you learned while being a student athlete, both at Kentucky and Clemson?
What are the differences between Kentucky and Clemson?
I said,
I think. Wait, go ahead. Sorry, I don't know if I heard that right.
no, you're good, you're good. I was saying, like, what are some lessons you learned while you were at Kentucky and at Clemson?
So, like, what a difference between like my mindset between Clemson
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Kentucky. I
Basically, yeah,
think
basically, yes.
the biggest thing in Kentucky is that I was so driven in just my sport in general that I forgot to actually live my life and see what's out of side my sport. I think a lot of athletes have this kind of like hard time of taking apart like who they are like as their identity apart from like their sport. So with Kentucky, what it taught me is that, you need to actually experience college. And it's not just about, a lot of people, whenever they say you need to experience college, it doesn't mean like you need to go out, you need to do all these things, you need to go to parties and all that stuff. But like who you are as a person, I think, because it's such a big 4 years of like you're learning who you are. Everything is developing. You're not only there for your sport, but you're also there for your education. So one thing is that whenever my sport wasn't where I wanted to be, I started pouring into school. But one thing that was missing is like who I was outside both those combined. Because it's great that I love school, that I love my sport, that I was willing to do anything for it. But who was I when you take that away? And I couldn't answer that. And that's whenever I prayed so hard for Clemson to be just a shining light. Because once I stepped foot on campus, it was hard. The transition was hard, not gonna lie, because I grew, all my
Yeah.
roots in Kentucky. I grew there for 4 years, from such like a teenager up until like I would say adulthood already. Like my frontal lobe, I would say, was developed. So I didn't do anything in Kentucky. But once I went to Clemson, I think the biggest thing was that I was very intentional in the way I did things. Like number one,
Yeah.
yes. Gymnastics was great. The fact that it was their inaugural season, that was such like a blessing and an honor to be able to compete for them and for the school and to be the first, group to actually show what ACC or just kind of Clemson what gymnastics is. So that's one thing. That's a pivotal moment that I learned was like the opportunity that was there, that Clemson was willing to actually give, female athletes like a like platform and just a program to just expand in general. And then number two is education. I went to Clemson for my grad school for my master's, and I just knew like from then on that I can do like networking. So Clemson has a great program. It's called Power Leadership. So I was part of that cohort where I learned how to network with people, how to present myself, what my voice looks like in a male dominant kind of field, or like how to make myself
Yeah.
look like the person that I need to present whenever it comes to business.
Yeah.
So I learned that a lot of people actually just gave me opportunities. Like I entered for our athletic administrator as well as our athletic recovery center. So just I was more intentional in Clemson, and that's why I learned, I think, in Kentucky is like you need to broaden out your horizons of like what you're doing in college, and
Yeah.
Clemson was a product of that. So and now I'm over here with a job, so that actually helps.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
She like grew with that and it's awesome.
Wow. That's so incredible. Goose, I feel like we could talk for 5 more hours about just the experiences you've had and like all the incredible things that you're doing. But unfortunately, we have to bring it to a close.
Oh
But thank
no.
you so much for joining us, Kaitlin. Like, truly, we are so honored to have such an incredible athlete and human on this podcast. We love you so much. And yeah, just thank you for taking the time out of your day. And thank you so much to everyone who's listening. We're so excited that we finally finished our third episode of Tiger Talks. We can't wait to see where it continues to go and thrive. And yeah, we'll see y'all for the next episode.
Thank you, Kaitlin.
Thank you.